ElectraCast.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? Crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
Welcome to the Congressional Record Daily Digest, where we bring you all the previous day's U.S. legislative proceedings in 4 minutes or less. In today's episode, we bring you the Congressional Record for July 20th, 2026.
The Senate introduced 5 new bills, while focusing most of the day on national defense legislation and federal judicial nominations. Senators began debating whether to move forward with the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2027, a major defense bill that would authorize funding for military operations, military construction, Department of Energy defense programs, and military personnel levels. If ultimately approved, the legislation would directly affect members of the armed forces, military families, defense contractors, and national security agencies. The Senate also devoted significant attention to the federal judiciary. Senators began considering the nominations of Michael C. Martin to serve as a United States District Judge for the Eastern District of Michigan, Antonio M. Pozos for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, and Daniel Mac Traynor for the United States Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit. Cloture motions were filed for each nominee, setting up future confirmation votes that could shape the federal courts serving millions of Americans. The Senate also advanced the nomination of Benjamin M. Flowers to the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit by voting 43-40 to end debate, moving his nomination closer to a final confirmation vote. In addition, Richard Schroyer was nominated to serve as an Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security, while the nomination of Don Richard Berthiaume Jr. for Inspector General of the Department of Justice was placed on the executive calendar for future consideration. The House introduced 22 public bills and 4 resolutions while passing a broad package of bipartisan health care, government modernization, and research legislation. Lawmakers approved measures clarifying Medicare payment rules for manual wheelchairs, expanding the government's authority to destroy hazardous imported products that threaten public health, and directing the Food and Drug Administration to finalize rules for modern non-animal testing methods. The House also reauthorized programs supporting tick-borne disease prevention, stem cell research, Alzheimer's and dementia provider training, dental workforce development, traumatic brain injury treatment, breast health education for young women, Down syndrome research, and maternal health research through the National Institutes of Health. Members unanimously approved legislation allowing the Secretary of Labor to suspend payments to medical providers convicted of fraud under the Federal Employees Compensation Act, strengthening oversight of taxpayer-funded health care programs. Beyond health care, the House passed legislation increasing transparency in federal spending, modernizing federal technology procurement, improving relocation benefits for federal employees, expanding whistleblower protections for federal contractors, strengthening national biosecurity standards, and advancing next-generation geothermal energy research. Members also prepared for debate on several major measures scheduled for later in the week, including the National Defense Authorization Act, the Fiscal Year 2027 Budget Resolution, the Continuing Appropriations Act to help prevent a government shutdown, the Stop Insider Trading Act, the Main Street Capital Access Act, and legislation aimed at reducing barriers to employment for Americans with disabilities. Those were the key activities of July 20th, 2026 in the U.S. Congress.
Subscribe to receive daily or rate and review so others can find us as well. Thanks for tuning in to the Congressional Record Daily Digest. This has been an ElectraCast Media production. Executive producers are Mark Netter and Peter Rafelson. Music by Peter Rafelson. Produced and edited by Nicholas Mrla.
ElectraCast.